everybody, and welcome to the Empowering Industry Podcast. I'm your host, Charli Matthews, and you're in for a treat today. I have been excited to bring you this guest for a while. And so I just want to say, be prepared. You are going to want to like, share, do all those things. You may even subscribe. Is that the word? Subscribe, follow, and connect with us because I'm setting you up, Heather, but it's worth it. We know it. So Heather, jump on here and introduce yourself to everyone.
Hello, Heather Cykoski here. I'm the Senior Vice President of Schneider Electric's Industrial and Process Automation business. I'm also a member of the executive leadership team. My focus is to basically empower industrial industries with cutting-edge digital solutions.
Yes, and y'all have been doing that for a long time, but it's really great to have you on the team. And so part of this podcast, I always like to kind of know the backstory. How did you get into the industry? And we'll dive into some other things after that. But I'm just really curious, how did you get into our industry?
Right. And so you and I were just talking a little bit about 6 degrees of separation. Maybe I'll take us back to my childhood. But I grew up kind of in the oil and gas world, if you think about it. A young woman in Texas, but I always felt that I could leverage my minority as a competitive edge. So I've been serving the energy value chain for 25 years. I am an industrial engineer. I graduated from Texas A&M, and I've done some MBA work in Lausanne, Switzerland. I would say that I've just kind of been versed or part of this industry green energy trilemma for my entire career. I've worked all over the world. I'm passionate about making sure that we not only bring the right type of energy, but the resources to our customers, but sustainability is the core of all of that. Again, worked all over the world, the Middle East, Africa, Europe, Asia, and I'm sitting in Houston, Texas.
Well, we're glad you're here. We love that, so much there. I have to say go Aggies for my fellow podcaster out there. She knows who she is. And, I think it is a competitive advantage. It is something that I never really even thought of saying, right? But being a female in a male populated industry, you stand out. And what can we bring to the table for one? But then, there's so much more than that. You've already alluded to being able to travel, being able to adapt to different cultures and to bring that to the table as well. So I love that. And, I'll probably say love and excited and things like that a lot on this podcast because I am just really honored, Heather, to have you on the podcast because I see what you're doing. And I haven't met you in person, I don't think, but I do feel like I know you. So there's that. But tell us a little bit about kind of automation. That's at the end, in the background of everything that you're doing here. I'm curious for my own, when I'm trying to go into this world, I feel like I'm limited as far as resources. And so do you get that out in the industry when you're talking to customers and they feel like it's just such a big task? What do we do if we do have limited resources and still want to get into automation?
I think that's a great question, and we see it all over the world. But we talk a lot about embracing innovative technologies, and we do that to boost efficiency, industrial businesses. We want to conserve energy. We want to safeguard people. We want to protect our environment. But when we think about what is available, and it very much, it's we say innovations at our fingertips, right? But it's ensuring that it's driving us to a better world. So I know you've spent a lot of time around water as well. And I know that we're going to spend some time together after WEFTech, but when I think of the adopting technologies or automation, I think about it driving sustainability, but also to provide to our customers the ability to modernize. I also like to think of automation as a partner, if you will. I was just at one of our facilities in South Carolina. We had the governor, McMaster, join us, and knowing that there's only so much grid availability, that you can ensure that you've got investors or companies that are coming into the state that can leverage automation to drive the efficiencies that won't put more, pressure on the grid, but not only to drive the efficiency within their assets, but also to modernize their assets, to gain more productivity, and then in fact be more profitable. And then I see it as well as an opportunity to it's such a challenge for all of us to get the workforce. So I see it as providing an advantage to the people that we have currently to help with the digital transformation, but then also to drive sustainability.
Yeah, and you talk about all the people that you have to kind of connect with and communicate with and really collaborate with all of these different organizations. And I think that that is key to have that communication out there. So, I guess what is the best way to do that? How have you found to have this kind of digital voice and know that we are ahead of everyone in a lot of spaces? And how do we bring them along? How do we collaborate with all of those organizations that need to be at the table?
So at Schneider, and I think for all of us, right? But at Schneider Electric, we understand it's important that not only do you drive collaboration between organizations, because it maximizes the potential of industrial automation, but it also can navigate the constraints with the resources like we were just talking about. But we believe that by working together, we can leverage the collective strength, overcome those challenges, and drive innovation in this whole entire kind of industrial automation space that many of us are sitting in. We have multiple strategic partnerships. Along with other organizations, we team up with technology providers, system integrators, industry associations. We've combined our own expertise with resources to make sure that we're addressing kind of this overall overarching kind of customer theme that we hear. It's whether it's with our partnerships with Aviva, whether it's with collaborations with NVIDIA. We've got collaborations as well with companies like Intel. It's to drive better flexibility and scalability for our customers, but we have to do it with partnerships. And I think that's the theme in everything that we do. Collaborate, innovate, partnerships.
Yeah, I love that. That collaborate is it's second nature. I guess it's that connects part for me, right? I love to get together with people, right, and see how we can make either their businesses better or the world better. I always say I might not be able to solve that today, but I can work on that for every day. So, one thing I do see for you in that innovative mindset and just Schneider, I've worked with so many great people there over the past that really did change my life, right? I can remember stepping out as a young professional and being embraced by several of the employees there. And so it was really it's a wonderful story I'd love to share with you one day. But there's that growth that's involved in that of helping people along. And so I've been enjoying your story as a woman in the C-suite of, how you've grown and gotten into industry and continue to do that while having a family. And so I know that you have a great, powerful story about embracing change. And I'd love to hear that. I'd love to hear a little bit about your story there. And just, it's such a challenge for women who are coming into industry and then they're debating, do I have a family now? Is it okay to have a family? And then I do have a family. What do I do now? So there's all those questions. And I think that you have been open and have shared your story. So I'd love you to share a little bit about that so that we can retain women that are in our industry.
I'd love to share that. And it's so interesting when you can take a moment and just reflect and think back. My two daughters are 18 and 20 today. And, thinking about starting, well, first of all, like we were talking about, choosing a career where I knew that I would be different, but I felt that I could leverage the minority as a competitive edge and really help drive change. So I guess I was in my very early years in high school, putting myself, in classes where I was one of the the very few, maybe one, two, three, that I could count in a lot of the classes. But I loved it and leaning into it. Starting my career at the Foxborough Company, it's been really a privilege and I feel like a blessing to be able to have a full circle and come back and now lead the industrial and process automation business after starting my career with Foxborough. It's a lot of the people that helped not only like answer some of the questions that I had, or just kind of teaching me to focus on not only just my career, but also my life as well. So I've been thinking a lot of those people as I'm back here with the company that really made a difference in my own career. But then first having my first child was an interesting adventure on its own. But then the second is when I started my global career. So I brought her everywhere with me. Some of the just thought processes that I was going to have work-life integration. And work-life integration is the way that I had to manage it. I wanted to do both. It was important to me. So I remember bringing my 6-month-old halfway across the world. She wound up being probably one of the best assets for me because there was the wives or the spouses of a lot of my customers were spending time with my daughter, and I brought my sister along. She actually worked for United, so she has seen the entire world. But it wound up being a great experience because not only was I able to contribute to my desires of my career, not only was I able to interact with the professionals and my customers, but their spouses, and relate with something that's so personal as our children. But then at the same time, start to show my girls as they grew up, the kind of trouble of the world, that you can do hard things and that you can do multiple things. I shared this story with the Flipping the Barrel hosts, Jamie and Mazel, as we were just talking about. I'll never forget the moments where I was leaving for work and just kind of feeling so frustrated that, gosh, am I good at anything? I feel like I'm, not able to stay on top of anything. 2 children, a career, a global career, trying to be a wife and all of that. But my children at the time, I think they were about maybe 2 and 4, and they handed me their little baby doll in the morning and put their little fake purse on and said, "Mommy, take my baby, I'm going to work." So I thought to myself, well, I'm definitely starting to make an impact on them. And fast forward, maybe 8 years later after that, I was, I think running from somewhere across the world, picking them up, trying to run to a birthday party. And my daughter was standing in the parking lot with me as we're scrambling to get everything to make her birthday party just so special. And she said, "Mom, today at work, at school, we talked about our heroes, and I talked about you." So it's just those little moments that when you think you're really not doing all of it perfectly, you actually are, and you're doing it in your own way. My girls are probably my biggest cheerleaders. When I had my first day at Schneider, my daughter had her first day of school, so it was quite cute that we both kind of pumped each other up. I took a plane, she took her car to school, and we followed up with each other and shared how exciting of a day it was for both of us, but how proud we were of each other. And it's really a beautiful thing. It really is. And I think that stands true for a lot of not only the women, but just all of the generations in this business, that we're fostering to bring more awareness, to support each other, to know that you can have a life and have a career, that it's, again, all full circle.
I love that so much, and I know why we were connected. So I have a little Carly mini me who is absolutely my cheerleader, the most empowered female that I know, and she is, constantly reminding me to take care of myself, to buy myself stuff, to, that again, like you said, if I'm going to write down, a boss, I'm writing down my mom, and so I feel that. I also have 2 sons. They're older, and I definitely have brought them along. They know if we're going to ride by, I may stop on the side of the road to show them what a pump and a valve is. So they were right there with me too. But I do think Carly looks to me to be that leader and example that she can, be sparkly and play with rocks. And, there's enough room for all of us in that workspace. And it's our job to make sure that it is a safe space, that there are opportunities for all. And I think we bring that to the table. So I know that's why I resonate with you. And I just, was so excited to get to meet you and have this conversation. But I think it's just that story about it is hard to go through that. And I think it's hard for a lot of people just managing young children. But to know that you're doing it, they see it, they're picking up on it, and you're teaching them that this is a great career in industry. And I think that that's what we want them to know, no matter, is it water? Is it energy? Is it mining for my daughter? It's like, what does that look like? But having those conversations, and you mentioned representation is so important. And that's what we're trying to do with Epic. When we were at the Colorado School of Mines in November, we kind of have this panel of leaders, and we want to make sure, that we have our young up and coming leaders represented as well as our experienced professionals. So just so much goodness there. I can't wait to talk to you even more, Heather, but I want to kind of give you kind of the last, mention here, kind of, is there anything else that you want our listeners to know either about Schneider or yourself before I do have a little rapid fire questions for you?
I think the main, maybe just first of all, thank you for all that you're doing. It's making an impact. We say that a lot at Schneider, and I'm quite excited about just the whole impact maker. And we look at the significance, whether it's environmental, social, governance, but how do we help, people grow? How do we drive sustainability at the core of our customers? It's very much the core of our company and our culture. But I see that when you have that passion, it increases the opportunity for many people. And I think the focus as well, just on the diverse perspectives, just as you said, it's whether it's, starting in the company at senior leadership, but also in board seats. It's critical that we all do that in our companies, because that's what drives innovation. And then if we just kind of step back to even just the word automation, it's such a, I actually used ChatGPT the other day and just put in there, what is, the term automation for the future? And it was really incredible. I encourage everyone to do that. How important it is that we really start leaning in on innovations and technologies that we have at our fingertips, because we do have the challenge of what's happening with our grid. We do have the challenge of what's happening with climate. But if we all work collectively together, we engage with partners, with our industry, with our government agencies, we drive, and leverage, whether it's IAR, Clean Air Act, whatever it is, but we facilitate that change together. It's exciting as well just to see the young talent that's coming out of schools, because their mindset is already thinking that way. So the word automation for me is very important to our future, and I'm very proud to be at Schneider Electric, not only because sustainability is the core of everything that we do, but we have those innovations and providing automation and serving what we like to call life is on. I like to see everything that we're doing, whether it's in the detergent or in our water or in our our hydrogen facilities. To be a part of that is really special.
Yes, and I have my picture with that life is on in the behind me, and I just have to, shout out to Jack Kramer. I know he's smiling at this conversation. He's so special to me. If you will just indulge me for a minute with these rapid fire questions, I'm curious, what is your favorite book?
CEO Excellence by McKinsey, currently.
Okay, awesome. What about music? Have a favorite tune, band?
Lauren Daigle,
Yeah.
she fills my soul.
Okay.
Love her.
Wonderful. What is the best advice you've ever received?
Actually, maybe I'll give a shout out to my husband. I just spoke on a panel that you and I were talking about, and I kind of turned to my husband. I said, honey, what would you like? What is your words of advice of, being in this world, for 400 women executives? And his comment is, slow down. Make sure you take time to communicate. It was really interesting to hear his advice, but I think for us to remember to slow down. I mean, we're moving so fast at a speed that is it continues to get faster and faster. But I think that's great for just in sense of our own people, for safety, for mental health, for well-being. I thought they were quite wise words, and those were from my husband.
I love it. Okay, last one, and this is a little bit same question, but a little different. Is what advice would you give a young professional coming into our industry?
Lead with passion, because when things get hard, which they will, passion always overcomes. Believe in yourself. Be you. I think it's always one of the things, as well as be authentic, be true to yourself. And that the industry definitely welcomes all of those young professionals that are out there.
Absolutely. I love it so much. Heather, I knew it was going to be great, and you've absolutely outdone it. So I told y'all you'd have to share this episode. So it's going to help somebody. I know it. It's already helped me. So we can check that box. And just thank you for being here, Heather. Great conversation.
Thank you so much as well.